How many of you guys say, mañana, starting next week, I'm going to be doing this thing. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to work out. And then we don't do it. And I wonder, like, what energetic pattern takes you away from it? Maybe for you, it's not urgency. For me, it is. It's the sense of I'm running late. I create that constantly. That pattern of running late, the pattern of needing to figure something out quick or needing to get something done quick. It gives me permission to not do the things that I say I'm supposed to do or want to do or need to do. Hola, beautiful humans. Welcome back to the First Gen Healing Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We've been having a lot of new listeners actually, and I've been seeing that you guys are going back to the beginning and listening to the very first episodes. And you guys have made me go back and listen and be like, are those okay? Do I feel okay about those? Because they were 3 years ago, I was a very different person. I was an aligned person to who I am today, but definitely the last 3 years I have shifted and changed so much. When I listen to them, I'm like, no, yeah, that's good. It's all aligned with the messaging that I'm trying to put out there and who I be. So thank you to those of you that are new listeners and are enjoying it and sticking around. And for my OG listeners, what's up? Thank you for hanging out también. I've been loving, I hope you have too. Let me know, give me some feedback. But personally, as a creator, I've been appreciating doing like one episode with a guest, one episode you and I, así, right? Like kind of taking turns. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm going to get to talk to you. Obviously, when I have a guest in front of me, I focus on the guest. And it's like the conversation is about them, their story, or the topic that we're talking about. But in these episodes, we get to talk a little bit more tú y yo en confianza, así con un cafecito, aunque ya me lo acabé. And I'm noticing already I'm coming in with this like speedy energy. So let's take a deep breath together, is what I'm trying to say, and ground a little bit because, man, this world, especially I think for those of us that are highly sensitives or just in tune in general, como que so much is happening que we can get ungrounded so quickly and feel spacey and airy. And if you feel that way, you've been overthinking or you just feel como que like you're floating away in some sense, grounding is going to be so important. So let's do that together. Yeah. Let's take a deep breath in through our nose. Drop our shoulders, straighten our back, exhale through our mouths. Roll your neck if that feels good. Roll your shoulders. Shake it out if that feels good. Close your eyes if you're able to or if you want to. One more. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose. Let it expand our chest, our belly, our shoulders. Open those up and exhale. Okay. I hope that felt good, feels good. That definitely always grounds me, and I forget to do it in my day-to-day. And it's really cool because that's available to you at any moment. It's just a matter of remembering and being willing to go there, because we can resist sometimes the things that we know that are good for us. But along with changing that energy, along with grounding, is today's topic, which I don't know exactly what I'll call it, but it surrounds a topic of this feeling of urgency. And I want to share it because I just came up with it as I was kind of doing some inner work for myself. So that's why I want to share it with you, porque I want to share how it felt before, understand, like being able to name it, what happened to get me to understand what I needed to do to find out what was happening, and then how I really got to the root of it and how I'm going to shift it. Because I think like as you're on your journey, a lot of you probably are becoming really self-aware, starting to recognize your patterns, starting to recognize, maybe see things that don't feel good or don't align anymore, but not knowing how do I get to the root of that? How do I change it? How do I get out of this loop, And so I want to show you one of the ways that I get myself out of the loop. So for some time now, I've been feeling like it's been hard for me to be como objective about my life and kind of see it from a third party's perspective. I almost feel so submersed in my own healing and awakening, and everything is kind of so enmeshed. No sé, como I see it so much from that lens that it's hard for me to see it objectively. It's hard for me to like step outside. And so for me, I go into overthinking, into feeling like I need to create a strategy or I need to do something, get organized. And basically, a week ago, I met up with a beautiful mujer. Her name is Adelie, and she's going to be on the podcast actually. We had recorded the podcast in July, but her and I have been mutuals on social media for I think it's about a year already. And so now, in this era, in this phase of Intuitive Prima, I've been opening up to meeting people in person. So the people that I've met online, that I've been mutuals with, kind of starting to set up a como cafecitos, to talk and get to know people in person. And that has been really cool. And so Adelie was someone that I met last week. And we were talking. I was telling her a little bit about this because I think she asked me like, "What's next for First Time Healing for Intuitive Prima?" And I was telling her like, "I'm not sure. I feel like I've been really open to how the path unfolds, and at the same time, I've been feeling like I need to start setting some goals, more objective goals to move it forward into something." So, as I was explaining that, I think she heard me overthink, porque I was over explaining, over saying, or just saying, como que maybe being all over the place. And so she told me, like, what happens if one, you let your gifts consume you? Like, let it take over you. Let it, like, stop controlling it. Stop giving it a name or giving it a lane to live within. Like, what if you let it consume you and move through you? And then two, what if you burn everything that you've created to the ground? Whatever that may mean. Like, let it burn. Let it die and come back to life. That death and rebirth. And when she said that, I feel like it dropped in as, okay, this is important. Keep it. We're going to come back to this. It's been a week and I've been sitting with, all right, I want to set some time to do that. Porque how it feels in my day to day and how it might feel in yours if you're feeling like overwhelmed, if you haven't given yourself some time to move through the things that are weighing you down or find your own answers, like, oh, like something that needs to come through but you can't get it out, or in my stomach, like nerves, like there's just something brewing there but you don't know what it is and how to name it. So that's how it was feeling for me. And the first step that I took has been to clean my space and my room. And then the second thing is my journal, of course. So I have had a million journals. I want to be clear. It's not like a journal like we think of it, porque as first gens, I don't know why, but the word journaling, it just intimidates us. For some of you, it might feel icky or like, I don't want to write my things on a piece of paper. For me, it's like a notebook. And sometimes I do journal. Sometimes it's straight up like, oh, today this happened. Other times it's notes. Other times it's downloads. Like I use these freely and I want to invite you to do the same, like a notebook where you can free flow. Porque a lot of us also carry that energy of perfection, that energy of, oh, if it's a journal, then it should have entries. And if I don't write it in every day, then it doesn't feel good. Then I stop doing it. Then I never touch it again until the next time I feel like writing in it, which then I have to like, okay, but I'm going to write it every morning. And if I miss the first morning, then you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Tú sabes, tú sabes. If you carry that energy, you know what it'd be like. But when we ease that pressure off, take it off, breathe into it. I'm getting into that energy. I don't need to. It gives you like a different feeling, a different connection to the thing. And we're going to be talking about that a lot, shifting the energy, changing the way you relate to the thing. So, anyways, so I pulled it out. I always know like when I'm going to go in, I need a notebook or something like that. I always also need a scent. And for me, it's sage. And before you come at me, because it's a closed practice, I'm growing my own sage plant, okay? I bought it and sourced it ethically. And now I have my own sage plant. And again, if you're watching the video version, I le quito sus hojitas once in a while. And I put it in this little cute cup. It's a little baby blue cup. I love it so much. I don't think you can see the cuteness of this color. Pero bueno, and then I put the little leaves in there and I collect them and I burn them. So I wrote in my notebook two things. I put, what does it mean to and look like if, one, I let my gift consume me, and two, I burn it, I release control. And that was another tidbit that Adelie gave to me. Thank you, Adelie, by the way, if you're listening. I'm excited for the listeners to listen to our episode together. But Adelie said, I had messaged her after and I was like, hey, thank you so much for the cafecito. And I told her, like, these two things are sticking in my mind and I definitely plan on reflecting on them. And she said, like, yes, like, do it. I believe in you. And I feel like it has to do something with control. So that was her tapping into her intuition. And I was like, yep, you're right, girl. Like, control is definitely something that the type of first gen that I am, if you're eldest, if you're the responsable, if you just were parentified growing up, it's likely that you hold within you this energy, right, of needing to control things, having everything under control. Even if it's not, it's an illusion of control, like being there for others and making sure everyone is okay, people pleasing. And so, anyways, I told her I think so too. And so that's why I wrote, burn it, release control. What does that mean? And so, what I did earlier today, not too long ago, is I grabbed my little cup and I grabbed my lighter and I started to light just one little leaf at a time. And I have a cute little ashtray también, te voy a enseñar. But I feel like I've gone through also how to create a space. I think I called the episode How to Create Safety Within when when you can't find it outside, something like that. So if you've never created a space for you and your internal self, like for you to meet yourself within, I recommend that you listen to it. So this is my little ashtray. I think it's so cute. It's a little seashell. And one thing that I love about becoming like my authentic self is that now I allow myself or like now I really know what sparks joy. Do you guys remember that from Netflix or that show that she's like, does it spark joy? I feel like when I was that very como in my previous lifetime, pues, when I was not intuitive prima, when I was not fully my authentic self, I don't think I actually really knew like que me llamaba la atención, que me gustaba. But now if you come into my room, I feel like it's the embodiment of authenticity. It's a reflection of my magic, of me, my authenticity, my soul, and that's so cool to see it like come to life physically, and it's not expensive things or anything like that. It's just like, again, if you're watching the video version, ese manto is one that my aunt gave me from Mexico, and I think it's beautiful, amazing. That moon, there's a disco ball on the other side too, which represents the sun to me, and this is a disco ball moon, which I think is so cool. This florero that's like an iridescent color, this vintage looking lamp over there, the mushrooms, the white flowers, the sun, the plantita right there. That actually reminds me of like coral reef with the couch, and no sé, como que gives me like ocean, fairy, universe vibes. And I'm like, yes, that's me in a freaking corner. Why did I go on that tangent? No sé, mis beautiful humans, pero me perdonan, okay? So I got my little cup and my little ashtray, and I just started burning. And another intuitive prima thingy that I do is recognizing the elements as like they're magical. Water is magical. Air is magical. Fire, amazing. Earth, beautiful, fantastic. No, I'm just kidding. No, but truly, like, okay, I'm gonna share another thing, another tangent. In my head right now, I am already criticizing myself and judging myself. Like, this is too hippie. This is too out there. What if people think you're weird? What if not everyone connects to this? So I want to name that because I think as you step into your authentic self, that's likely, that's self-judgment and el que dirán comes up so much. With my mentorship clients, with my one-to-one clients, that comes up and at least once with every single client, okay? The fear of el que dirán, the fear of like, what if I'm not accepted? What if I'm perceived this way? What if? So I want to name how sometimes yo también, I still, think about that and I still judge myself a little bit, and it's okay. We're just going to move through it. But okay, back to our main point, y'all. So I wrote that down. I started to burn the little hojitas. And when you work with an element, at least for me, repetition is helpful. So like I would burn the hojita, let it burn, watch it burn, and I would just take deep breaths and be like, what would it look like if I burn everything to the ground? What would it feel like? What would it look like if I let my gift consume me? What would that feel like? And that simple repetition started to ground my energy. Whew, I'm feeling it now también. It's like I'm moving into my body again. Because when I think of like generating more income or getting more clients or making this bigger, I move into my head. I move into strategy. I move into, no sé, como urgency. There we go. So that's the whole theme. But that's how I actually came through to this word. So I realized that I always create a sense of urgency for myself. And I want to share with you porque I know that I'm not alone in this. And potentially you that are listening are also someone who attracts that energetic pattern of urgency. Everything has to be urgent in some way. There are ways where I have already shifted out of that energy. So you won't catch me like rushing or como super hyper all day. But what happens with healing and awakening, if you've heard about it, is this spiral, this upward spiral, right? Healing isn't linear. Awakening isn't linear. The lessons that you feel like you've already learned, it doesn't mean like zero, like, okay, learned, done. It'll come back in a different way. It'll take on a different shape, a different form, a different story. And so for me, I'm recognizing, wow, I still carry this aspect of urgency. So I'm gonna, reference my journal here or like my notebook. So I wrote down, urgency is a pattern of mine, creating from empty, even if it's not working. So how many of you guys maybe have, let's say, relationships or work environments or things where you already know it's not working, and yet you create this sense of urgency to do more, this urgency to get back to it, this urgency to improve it when you already know it's not working? And so, similarly for me, it's almost like I constantly feel this urgency to like do something about my business or show up in some way, even though I already feel like it's not working, or even though I know coming from a place of urgency is like an illusion that I constantly create for myself. Let me tell you how. So, for example, if I say I want to create a workbook, which I mentioned to you guys, I think 2 episodes ago, it's for it's for primas or primos or primas wanting to get back to themselves. And yet, I always find a way to come from a place of urgency. Oh, it's September. Like I wanted to launch end of September. Yeah, why? I know why, and I'm going to mention it in a second. But the reality is that despite the circumstances, I always create the sense of urgency with things, with just like so much. So we'll get into it. But I put creating from an empty space or from empty, even if it's not working. It leads me to feeling spacey, anxious, and not at ease. So this feeling within me of that urgency. And so as I'm calling it out, you can think of your own pattern. What's a pattern that you constantly attract? And what does it make you feel? How does it feel in your body or in your day to day? So for me, urgency makes me feel spacey. Like it makes me feel como que I'm in my head overthinking. Like, and every time my energy wants to slow down, I bring it back to my head and I overthink. It's time to overthink. And then, I feel anxious then, right? Because like this feeling of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay. And then not at ease. Can't be at ease. No podemos relajarnos, no podemos estar bien, because now we have this urgency that we created on our own, but it's actually what we're used to feeling. Why? I'll tell you in a second. So it makes me feel disconnected from me, disconnected from peace, disconnected from the divine or that love that I have experienced in the past. And it's so true. When I'm in my head, when I'm not grounded, when I'm not fully like embodied, me siento desconectada. I feel like lost. I feel like I'm starting all over again. Like I'm stuck. Like, it makes me feel all of these feelings that don't feel like grounded, like in my body, like sure of who I am, embodied, taking aligned steps, steps that feel good to me, steps that feel like me. Instead, I go back to this pattern of, oh my God, like, me estoy yendo far away instead of being here now. So I hope that that's making sense to you. And yeah, let me continue. So then, urgency means skipping meals. Ooh, skipping workouts, not doing my routines or rituals that I would like to do, or habits that I've set out for myself. How many of you guys say, mañana, starting next week, I'm going to be doing this thing. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to work out. And then we don't do it. And I wonder, like, what energetic pattern takes you away from it? Maybe for you, it's not urgency. For me, it is. It's the sense of I'm running late. I create that constantly. That pattern of running late, the pattern of needing to figure something out quick or needing to get something done quick. It gives me permission to not do the things that I say I'm supposed to do or want to do or need to do. Urgency disconnects me from trust. Ooh, alignment, openness to how life and abundance can move through me. Again, as I was burning these little leaves, I was letting these things drop in. First, I closed my eyes and I just said, like, okay, what are you teaching me? What do I need to hear today? What am I needing to reflect on today? And if you've ever heard, like, the answers are within you, a lot of the time, yes, the answers are within you. And I think the challenge is getting ourselves to be with ourselves, listen to ourselves, create that sense of safety, right? To sit and reflect and hear and process. And so I think even urgency takes me away from me, from things like meditation that do create this sense of ease and peace and presence and abundance. Because when you're coming from a place of urgency, it's scarcity. There's no time. There's no energy. There's no space. There's no money. There's no, right? And if you ground, if you meditate, it's like, ooh, there's infinite time, infinite energy, infinite space, infinite abundance. I just need to open the door for that. And if we think of it like, you guys know, if you've heard a lot of episodes, then I get little como visions, drops. That's how I visualize certain things. So I see it as like, you saw that scarcity that I was naming. Did you feel how your body contracted? No time, no space, no food, no energy, no, 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 no. It like contracts your body. Maybe your stomach tightens, maybe your body tightens, maybe your shoulders cave in, right? And so you move through the world así with tension, with out of breath, fast, not tending to yourself. But when you then give yourself that time and that space and you ground, it's like deep breaths, your shoulders expand, your body no longer feels tense. It's open, your chest feels open, your heart is open, your mind is open. What needs to flow through me? What wants to come through? How there's infinite ways where I can attain or where I can experience love and abundance and happiness and success. Infinite ways. There's not just one. Woo! Do you see how that shifts the energy, the way you feel, the way you move, the way you think? It's crazy. And it's easy to fall right back into the patterns that we're used to, And then I wrote down loyalty to my business equals loyalty to me first. I'm going to say that again. Loyalty to my business or loyalty to my marriage or loyalty to my family or loyalty to my work equals loyalty to me first. We're so good at being loyal, at being dependable, at being responsible when it comes to others, when it comes to pleasing others, meeting others' expectations, making others feel happy or okay. Why? Why don't we apply that same level of loyalty to ourselves first? Recognizing that, because sometimes, when we're coming from a place of scarcity, like, oh, well, if I'm loyal to me, then I'm not loyal to them. How about changing that belief to when I show that loyalty to myself first, I'm able to extend that loyalty to others, When I prioritize myself first, I'm able to then prioritize others better. But first, it has to be with me. What good is it to be there for others in their journey or their lives if I don't fully show up for mine? What a concept, right? But let me read that again because I know it's going to apply to some of y'all. What good is it to be there for others in their journeys if I don't fully show up for mine? For my life, for my journey, for their lives, for their journeys. It's so true. I have this deep desire to remind whoever is going through like obviously you guys as listeners, but on social media, like to remind y'all you're not alone, to remind you there's different modalities and ways to go about the healing that you need, to show you that you're not the only first gen, that many of us go through this, and it's like, what good is that doing me to constantly like do that for you guys when I'm not showing up for myself? And that, I think, is where I came from when I had first written down like creating from empty, even if it's not working. It's like, oh, I must create, but create from the overflow, give from the overflow, not from the empty, because that's only going to make you feel worse, not better. And then I wrote down kind of like keywords. I don't know: urgency, scarcity, lack, abandonment, empty, hungry, needing more. And it reminded me of the episode that I did, a solo one, if you heard it, the one about first gen, are you carrying rocks? Does that remind you of inner child me, inner niña me, and maybe inner niña some of you guys, inner niño, niña? Urgency, scarcity, lack, abandonment, empty, hungry, needing more. So what I'm doing, this feeling is familiar. What I'm attracting, where I'm coming from is a familiar feeling, a feeling of scarcity, a feeling of empty, of needing more. I'm hungry. I want more, 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 more. And that comes from a place of abandonment. And so maybe growing up, the abandonment wasn't from myself, but it was from others. And now it's coming from a place of self-abandonment. I have the time, I have the resources to show up for myself, to be consistent with myself. The energy también. It's almost like I continuously want to create that feeling because it's familiar. Feeling abandoned, of not enough, of needing to do more, be more, etc. And so instead of recognizing like, oh, well, I need to continuously do that for myself, because that's, I think, where I slip up, is I feel like, oh, pues eso ya lo sané. I got over that already. I healed it. I looked at it. I processed it. I cried over it, But the reality that I'm coming into right now is, oh, those are maybe ongoing wounds that will always present themselves one way or another. And I just have to be really mindful of not letting them lead the way, of attending to them, of nurturing them, of caring for that, so that it doesn't continue to run the show. Okay. Then I put, it overlays how I approach everything. So social media, sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm so lost on social media. It's a void. I don't know who I'm actually speaking to or who's actually listening. And that comes from a place of like, oh, it's because I'm trying to create so that I get more followers, or so that I get more views, so that I get more interactions. But the reality is that I'm building a community. So when I ground into my truth, when I ground into what I already know that I am, it changes the feeling. I've already gotten over that hump. I just keep coming back to it because it's familiar, because it feels more normal to me to feel lost, to feel stuck, to feel not enough. That feels more normal and in some weird way like comfy than feeling embodied, aligned, sure, confident, right? So coming back to that, like, no, actually, I do know who I'm talking to. I am creating a community, whatever that may be for you también, you know? So like maybe for you, it's in your life, like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not being enough. Think about like, is that the feeling you've always had? Is it a feeling that someone in your upbringing made you feel? And so now to feel that sense of like normalcy, do you tend to create that in your own life? Yeah. I hope some of y'all are following along because I think it could be powerful. Okay. Now, how dare I speak about urgency and slowing down? Actually, how dare I speak about slowing down, coming back, taking a pause when this world feels so urgent, when there is real stuff happening? And for me, for example, I'm going to be super honest and vulnerable here. I have, and I think I've told you guys many times, but I have a lot of debt. In order for me to become my authentic self, I think I thought that I needed to let go of everything. And that's not everyone's reality, but it is mine. I basically quit my job. I felt like I needed a pause. I was burnt out mentally, physically, emotionally. And so I allowed myself to accumulate debt to be on this path and see it through. So I have a lot of debt and I don't have a lot of savings. In fact, very little. Very little. And yet I still dare to talk about ease and flow and slowing down. How? Why? Why? Because what good is it for me to continue to go 100 miles per hour and run through my gas so quickly? Like, it's just the way that I'm used to doing things, but it doesn't mean it's the right way. It doesn't mean it's the best way. It doesn't mean it'll get me to where I want to go, you know? And so I think I named this example because I think sometimes we feel the urgency is so real. We feel our pattern to be so real. Like, no, well, I'm not creating this. It's my reality. And it's like, I think it's right. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's in between. Like, yes, it is your reality. And yes, potentially you're also playing a role in creating that for yourself. And sometimes that can be triggering for people, you know, when you name a certain a certain experience that you're going through, the last thing we want to think of, especially when it's uncomfy, is that we're a part of it too. But take it as it resonates and, you know, leave it if it doesn't. I just invite you to think about, like, am I playing a role in the discomfort that I'm feeling? Is this something that I continuously create for myself? Am I somehow more comfortable in this feeling than I am with the other side of that, you know, being on the other side of that? And so the way that you feel and the patterns that you create also then are kind of the glasses that you wear when you see the world. So I wrote down, it's not just a reflection of me, it's a reflection of how I see and perceive the world. So I see others, let's say, travel, and I register it within myself as lack, a scarcity. It's almost like I take anything that I see and I continue to feed that urgency, that scarcity, that, you know, emptiness. Like, oh, I use it as como like to create more space between who I am and where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to have. Why? Because that helps as and serves as proof of the urgency that I'm supposed to be existing within. And obviously that's a pattern that I've carried through, right? It's something that I've always lived in, is that sense of urgency, whether it's like the next promotion. So, oh, I got this job. Okay, now I want this position. Now I want to make as much as that person. Now I want, right? So, like creating a sense of urgency instead of, oof, I got this job. Yay, let me sit down and settle down. No, now I need to prove myself. Now I need to not get laid off. Now I need to not get terminated, right? Like there was this fear and this sense of urgency once more. Now I need to create trust with my boss or show them that I'm good or, you know, etc. Or when I had my apartment, like, oh, well, now I want it to look better. Now I want it to be better. Now I want a bigger place. So it's like this constant, again, urgency, next, better, better, and always like this need for improvement. And so, okay, I've identified the pattern. I've identified that I'm in it. And I'm looking at, my notebook, because that's how I kind of flowed through it, is I just kept writing down what kept coming up. And I think sometimes where we get stuck or we can't move past is that it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to tie it back to childhood, and maybe you have ingrained in you, there you go again, tying it back to your childhood, or, but we've already worked through this, or we've already gotten over this, or we've already talked about this. Think about like who's speaking there. Is it actually you and what you need, or is that conditioning or things that you heard growing up or as you've been on your journey? It's usually that, right? It's not you. Like if you're going down that path, is because you need it. But the person that is judging you, or the voice that is judging you, is potentially like los otros, what you've heard, or the conditioning of judging yourself and not having patience with yourself and not being graceful with yourself, having grace, that it's okay. Like if you gentle parent your inner niña or niño or niñe, like give yourself an abracito. I love telling my clients, like, date un abracito at the end of a session or whatever it may be. Like, give yourself a little tight hug and say, like, hey, it's okay. I know we've been down this road many times. It sounds like you still need to go back. We got caught up again, and it's okay. I don't want to judge you. I don't want to hurt you, like, show me. What do I need to learn? Show me. What am I missing here, And so for me, as I was going down this pattern, it was like, growing up, even if I got a B, it was like, well, you should have gotten an A. So not really feeling seen for who I really am, not someone like my parents or people in my life moving through life so fast themselves that they miss who I am, and my like they can't really fully see me. Okay. So in the creating of sense of urgency, do I feel unseen? Yes. Okay. So there's a connection there, right? When I start to get into urgency, likely there's parts of me that are feeling disconnected from myself, parts of me that I'm not wanting to see, that I'm wanting to bypass, that I'm wanting to separate from. Okay. Then I wrote down, but within me, I have found peace and ease through meditation, getting to know myself. That vibration or state of being feels like home. It feels like love. It feels like me. And it so does. I think as I started to heal and I spent time away from family and friends, I started to realize, like, whoa, I've always lived in this state of like hurry and like, but what I personally like, what my soul actually loves and appreciates is ease, is peace. It's a slow morning. It's a not overthinking mind. It's a quiet mind. It's an approach to conversations with love, not with how loud can I get, how fast can I get my point across, how much can I hurt you as I talk, Because that's what I grew up with. But I started to realize, like, that's what I grew up with, but that's not who I am. And I've learned to survive in it through urgency, through people pleasing, through perfectionism, but it's not who I am. And thankfully, from all that space, I got to start to recognize, like, what does it look like to embody who I am, what I like, the energy that I want to bring to the situations, to the relationships. It says here, and so now my job is to accept duality, because thanks to that urgency, I appreciate ease that much more. So everything always has two sides. And sometimes when we're on this path, we want to shed a lot of layers or remove a habit, end a habit, change a way of being. But we need to recognize, like, we get to actually thank it, because thanks to that version of whatever thing you're facing, now you get to look the other way and look for what doesn't feel like that, and we get to replace it. So any habit or way of being or energetic pattern that you hold, you can't just eliminate it. I don't know if you guys have heard like energy isn't destroyed, it's transformed, or energy can never be destroyed or eliminated, it's transformed. So I started to recognize that when I worked one to one with people, is like whenever there was something that they wanted to shift or get away from, it had to be replaced with something new, a different energetic pattern, a different feeling, a different sensation, a different something. So thankfully, thanks to having experienced urgency to that degree in my upbringing and in my life, I get to now find an equal amount of ease in my life and create that for myself and live in that, because I know what the flip side of that feels like. And so because I do, I get to appreciate this level of ease. I get to search for it and find it and have gratitude for it, that maybe others, don't see the magic in it because they haven't had to deal with it, or it's not even in their personal experience or field. And so then I put down, and now my job is to remember to embody ease and peace, to come back to it each time I forget. And so I'm sure this won't be the last, and it has not been the first time where I like float away, when I go back to my comfort level of urgency, of not enoughness, of scarcity. And so now it's just a remembrance that my job is to come back to this embodiment of ease, to this version of me that I have already found within me, and that is true to me. It feels good to me. It feels like home now, and come back to it. Beliefs, you get to choose which ones you embody or which ones you hold true, right? So I could believe, well, the only way to get ahead in life is through urgency and scarcity and the need for more. Or I can choose to believe, actually, I will get through life just as well through ease and peace and abundant thinking, right? Or like feeling like time is abundant, opportunities are abundant, life is abundant. So you get to choose, and I get to choose which one do I want to believe. And the truth is, I do believe that I get to live life just as successfully through ease. It's just a matter of shifting back into that energy and moving forward as it. I think I hope that walking you through how I felt before, where the question was arising, right? What needs to change? What needs to shift? What is it? What is it? Where's the root of this? Then collecting maybe, little clues, little things, like maybe for you, this episode is a little clue of what you need to do next to get the answer, to move through it and move into the next phase. And then, how I actually moved through it. I sat down, I created intentional space. I knew that I was going to be alone for a bit. I knew that I needed to cleanse the space and then, create, and then bring my notebook and create that intention like, okay, I'm about to go within, and uncover stuff. Also knowing like you don't judge yourself as you go through this, because then you stop the flow and you stop the clarity from coming through. If you judge it every step of the way, guess what? It's going to stop coming, So if you're like, oh, like if I would have stopped at, let's say I wrote down urgency, scarcity, and feeling empty, feeling hungry, that stuff. If I would have been like, no, I already worked through that though. Like, yeah, my session would have ended. I wouldn't have gotten to the root of it. I wouldn't have gotten to this shift in energy and feeling, And that's what a lot of people do, I think. It's like they feel like so it's como que when you sit down, you feel like a little wave, a little tsunami of emotion or something coming up, right? And feeling a little bit bigger than you. And so you might be like, no, 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 I don't want to deal with that. You close the door on it, and you get busy, you check your phone real quick, and that turns into you checking social media, or you find a way to like get busy again with something different. So, being mindful of like our own patterns, like I said, and that it might not be an easy, fun experience, but maybe it's exactly what you need, I'm also feeling like sneezing and a little tingle in my nose. I wonder who of you that's listening, like that's your reaction to emotion. Um, But anyways, okay. So yeah. And then like moving through it, right? So like writing things down, asking kind of the why questions, getting to the root of it. And it's not even like, it's more of allowing whatever comes through to come through, as opposed to knowing exactly how to move through it, because you might be like, oh, but you know how to do that because you do this work. yes and no. I think it's partially también just allowing things to flow through, like even words that might not make sense. Or if you get a flash of a memory in your mind, write it down. Pay attention to it. Don't discard it. Don't, put it to the side. Don't judge it. And yeah, and then notice the change, because the cool thing is there's always a shift, when you allow yourself to move through it. If you've heard like feel your feelings, that's what it means. It's like let yourself go there, let yourself understand it, let yourself feel, don't judge it. Maybe for you, you immediately have an emotional response. Don't judge it. Let it come through, let it flow through, and then notice what comes after that. Personally, right now, I feel very grounded and I love it. And I feel like I got the answer. The answer is whatever I create moving forward needs to come from a place of groundedness, of ease and peace, and just multiplying that as opposed to creating from a place of urgency and scarcity. Because all I'm going to do is create that within others and multiply it. If I'm trying to sell something, if I'm trying to create something fast, um, and put it out there, and it's not going to create this good feeling that I want to share with others, which is this one, this grounded, embodied feeling. Oh, that feels so good. So again, Adelie, if you're listening, I'm going to message you, but thank you so much for that little glimpse of intuition. And for those of you that are listening and you're like, you know what, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. I feel, no sé, I want some guidance. I do offer one-to-one sessions. I mess with the name all the time because I'm not sure what to call them. I used to call them my corazón a corazones, and I've been feeling like going back to that, like calling it corazón a corazón. But it's essentially a one-to-one video session. And I have those available if you go to the description in the episode, or if you ever go to social media, it's always linked in my bio. And you could just book a 1 hour session with me. And it's me. I don't show up any differently. And we walk through like what you're navigating, right? Maybe you have words for it, maybe you don't. The cool thing about intuitive work is that also it doesn't always have to have the right words, so you may be speaking and I can already sense like in your body where I feel it, where it's coming up, or maybe through the questions that I ask, you'll be able to get it out. So there's different approaches to this work and to moving you through wherever you're feeling stuck or where it's blurry. And I love doing this work. I love, 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 love helping you feel like, oof, yes, like, that was helpful. So, like I mentioned, they're in my bio, and I'm happy to, and always honored to work with you guys. Should we do a little releasing of the pattern? Ooh, a little visualization. Okay, we're gonna do one, but I'm gonna channel it, so hopefully it goes well. Because I don't have anything planned, so we're just gonna go with intuition. And it's gonna be kind of short because I'm already at the hour. So this next part, obviously do it when you have some time, when you have some space. And I think the intention will be to release the pattern, the energetic pattern that you're running up against. Obviously, like in one go, it might not be, like I said, we meet similar lessons over and over again. So just FYI. But it can definitely shift the way you feel it in your body. So let's do it. Eee! I'm planning on doing more of these in our episodes together. So for this one, I'm going to turn off my camera. Okay. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Plant your feet on the ground. This is going to be definitely a grounding session. So I want you to plant your feet on the ground, or you can sit on the floor if that feels better. I just want you to notice, like, where do you feel at ease? Is it on your couch maybe with your legs crossed? Is it on a chair, a specific one? But I want you to be in a place where you feel safe, where you're not going to have distractions, where you can have your eyes closed and be okay. And as you're starting to just settle into your space, make sure you have your eyes closed, maybe have some noise canceling headphones, and start to notice the spaces and places in your body that are making contact with the chair or the floor or your bed, wherever you find yourself. And feel the weight of that, how it feels to be held by something. by the floor, by your chair, and start to just place your attention and energy there. The lining of your body, so maybe the bottoms of your feet, the back of your legs, your bottom, your back. What parts of you are being held in this moment? Allow yourself to feel the weight of that. Almost like all of your energy is being shifted to the back of your body, the bottom of your body, letting that weight bring you in, bring you within your body. You can roll your neck if that feels good, or your shoulders. I want you to feel comfortable. And let's start taking deep breaths together in through your nose. We're going to do a square breath, which is 4 seconds in, 4-second pause, 4 seconds out, 4-second pause. Okay, so in through your nose, 4 seconds, and hold. Exhale through your mouth, 4 seconds. Hold. If you need to breathe in between, feel free to do so. Just come back. Go ahead and inhale for 4 seconds and hold. Exhale, hold. Now breathe normally. Eyes still closed. Put your hands somewhere where they feel comfortable when you don't have to move them. And I want you to tune into what parts of your body right now feel at ease and which ones feel in motion. What parts of you are still, bringing you peace, bringing you almost like very relaxed, and what parts of you are active in movement. For me, it's my forehead. I can feel it. It's in movement. There's a lot of like light and energy there. My stomach, the bottoms of my hands. For you, it might be your knees or your throat or your chest or your back. It might feel like a zigzag, a loop, swirls, weight. And you're not wanting to shift it. We just want to pay attention. Okay. Those parts of me are still active. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Breathe normally. Just like sometimes we have energetic patterns when it comes to our thoughts, our actions, our experiences, our bodies can also have energetic patterns. The way we sit or the way we hold energy in certain parts of our bodies that eventually can turn into pain or discomfort or soreness or tension. Everything is connected. And you can approach the same thing from different angles. So maybe one day you can notice this energetic pattern through the experiences that you're having. And then another day, you'll notice the energetic pattern through the way you maybe tighten your fists when you speak or when you're listening to someone. Or maybe your chest gets tight, or your throat gets itchy or dry, or your head starts to hurt. And so you can pay attention to that and bring awareness to that and give that some energy. So there's multiple ways of experiencing the pattern, of noticing it, and of shifting it too. It can be energetic, it can be logical, and then it can be embodied. So I want you to choose one pattern. Whatever pattern you may have noticed as you listen to today's conversation, or one that you identify at a later time and come back to this meditation, this visualization. And I want you to picture that pattern in your mind's eye. For me, it's urgency. For you, it may be something else. Maybe it's people pleasing. Maybe it's staying small, not saying the things you actually want to say, not feeling your feelings, bypassing your own emotions or your own experience, or thinking that others are right and that you must be wrong, and then seeing that you were actually right. You just didn't believe yourself enough to take action on it. Whatever that pattern is, picture it in your mind, in your third eye, if you have access to that. Just picture it. Depends. I don't know what's popping up for you. It may be visualizing the actual memory of that. It might be seeing like a little circle in motion. So for me, urgency, it's kind of like zigzagging all over the place. That's what I'm imagining. Like, oh, urgency, it means zigzagging. Urgency, it means an empty bag, right? Feeling like not enough. Urgency, it means running around like a headless chicken. Urgency means shouting and not being heard. Urgency means shame. Interesting. And you can do the same with your pattern. How is it showing up? What is it bringing up? Things might start popping out, boop, 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 out of the box in your mind's eye. It might be like one thing after the next, a memory, then a feeling. And if a part of your body starts to get activated, I want you to notice that. So for me, it was my right shoulder. So as you're noticing the pattern, or as you're replaying it in your mind, what part of your body gets activated? Is there a pit in your stomach? Do your legs feel weak? Does your bottom feel tired, sore? Does your back feel heavy? What gets activated for you as you think of this pattern? I want you to grab or use one of your hands, whichever one is easiest for you to access the part of you that is getting activated. So for me, it's my left hand. I'm going to place it over my right shoulder because it feels like it burns. I'm just going to massage it a little bit. Bring not only my mental awareness to it, but also my physical presence to that area. And I'm just going to take a couple deep breaths into it. I invite you to do the same wherever you have to place your hand, wherever you're feeling activated. Maybe it's your womb space, maybe it's your back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, wherever you feel it. And as you do that, breathe into it. Use your breath to help you move through that. Now I want you to think about, where does the shame for coming back to this pattern live? Where does the guilt, the anger for coming back to this pattern live? The judgment. For me, it's my lower abdomen, almost at my womb space, lower stomach. So now I want you to take both hands, if possible, and place them as close to that space as you can. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Channel that breath all the way to wherever it's feeling activated. And exhale. Breathe normally. Now, if you had to give this space a color and a texture, think about what it would be. For me, I'm seeing a really dark, deep color, almost like black. And I'm seeing clunks, chunks. Something, it's not pleasant. It's something, it feels like a chunky, clunky blob of sorts. For you, it might be something else, a different color, a different texture, a different movement. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale. I want you to breathe normally and see if you can allow love to access this space. You can picture it as a form of light or rain or glitter, whatever feels good, whatever feels aligned. See if light can get to that space in the form of love, in the form of grace, in the form of forgiveness. I forgive you. I see you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. In through your nose and exhale. In through your nose and exhale. Breathe normally. Perhaps today only a little bit of light was able to access this space, this place, this sensation. Maybe the color shifted slightly, or the weight of it, or the texture of it. And that's okay. We're not here to judge. We're not here to completely eliminate or get rid of. We're here to witness, to allow, to make space. So I want to picture yourself giving that part of you a hug, saying thank you, I love you. And if you need me again, just let me know and I'll be here. Now I want you to bring your breath and use it to expand your body. You can stretch your arms, wiggle your toes. Take a deep breath in. Allow your breath to move through you. You can roll your neck or your shoulders, expand your chest. Start to come back into your body, into the now, into the present. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And I want to invite you to share this episode, share this knowledge with whoever you think might find it helpful, whether it's your amigas, amigos, amigues, primas, primos, primes, community, whatever it may be. Share it with people that are walking this path alongside us, that are needing to feel not alone, to know that society might make it feel like, empathy is out the door, but the reality is that so many more of us are stepping into it further, looking at our shadows and our things and dealing with them instead of bypassing them. And so you're not alone. It does feel rough out there, but we have each other. And I'm so thankful for that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Cuídense mucho. And remember, First Gen, that I love you, I love me, and I can't wait for you to love yourself. Bye.